Green.
What is up, folks? Ncaa31 here, bringing you NCAA 12, the Road to Riches Online Dynasty Season 2 opener.
He makes it to the 28-yard line.
More than likely, realistically, the last season before NCAA 13 drops, but the commish of this OD will have it going on when NCAA 13 comes out.
He'll have to get good protection from his line to make things work, though.
He makes his way to about
Taking FIU up against San Diego State. FIU's a decent little team. I like playing with them. They're a lot of fun to use. And we're all playing with low prestige, weaker teams. Last season I had a decent season. Lost T.Y. Hilton, of course. I was running a relatively vanilla 4-3 base Tampa 2 style scheme. That's what kind of fit my personnel and my depth a little bit better this season. On the defensive front, I have a stud defensive tackle returning, and my two ends returned also and got significantly better in the offseason. And I have an impact player safety, decent corners, and solid enough linebackers to get by with. Their high 60s, low 70s in zone coverage. And, you know, when I say that they're good, I'm talking about relative to the competition level that, you know, we're facing in the good old Sun Belt, and also with the user gains of the teams that we're using. FIU is not going to be threatening Alabama anytime soon, but for the level of comp being faced, they're a pretty decent team. And I'm using the Notre Dame spread playbook, spread no huddle. Really like the spread playbook. Of course, I'm biased towards all things Notre Dame, but this is, surprise, surprise, probably my favorite spread playbook in the game. It's just so versatile. A lot of things you can do with it. It definitely favors the pass first somewhat, but there's a lot of ways you can go with it. My quarterback has some pretty good wheels, so I put him to work some. They got a good halfback, and he does a little bit of everything. It's a very diverse spread playbook, and I actually find myself being a little bit more balanced with it than you would think, given its, you know, pass-friendly formations, empty sets, trips, bunch and tight shotgun formations. I'd be curious to see how Notre Dame's playbook is this coming year, because Notre Dame actually ran the ball downhill out of the shotgun very well. The playbook, the running game in this playbook is more or less finesse-oriented, so I'll be curious to see how that carries over to NCAA 13. And there's my impact player, HB. He's got good hands. He's got okay speed, but he's really quick and agile. He's a jack-of-all-trades type of guy.
He looks to throw on first down, and he tackles him hard at the 42. Big play there by the defense. That's their second pick of the half.
There I got a good play out of my safety. But, you know, I'm pretty much ready for the new games to come out now. I think I'm all Madden 12 and NCAA 12 out. But I gotta say, I got my money's worth, boy. I got plenty of value for my buck. When you factor in all of the online games I've played of NCAA, the online dynasties that I've participated in, offline dynasty, and in Madden, the online leagues and online games I've played, I pretty much got every penny out of these games that I feel I possibly could. So it was money and time well spent. Had a lot of fun
Ball on the 45-yard line.
this year. But like anything, you know, you're ready for the new to arrive to get my quarterback decked here. And I'm really looking forward to the 2013 edition of these games. And they can't get here soon enough, boy, because it is big time silly season in video breakdown land. His quarterback's pretty athletic as well. And here I blow up a flanker screen. That's actually one of the things that I'm looking forward to seeing out of NCAA 13 is more runnable bubble screens. Someone commented that they feel like the game is going to lean a little bit towards the offensive direction, and personally I agree with that assessment. That's my hunch. Here we go, a little bit of Notre Dame 5 wide trips. You see all the goodies this sucker has. You can run out of these sets too. You can run a QB draw, QB blast, jet sweep, run a little play action game out of it. See what he's in, then I go back to run the flanker screen. I actually like my, even though I don't have T.Y. Hilton, I actually like my receiving core a little bit better because they're more balanced. They're all good route runners. Last season I got very T.Y. Hilton heavy, as he pretty much dominated my offense, but I don't have one great stud receiver, but they're all good. So I can go to any of them at any given time. They're all good route runners that get blasted on the play action pass. Another thing I'm looking forward to seeing how they improve the blocking for those suckers. But as I was saying, here my QB shows his wheels. But I like my receiving core because they all have route running in the low to mid 80s, so any one of them can get open, so I don't really have the pressure to really lock on a stud guy when I absolutely need a play like I had to do last season when I had T.Y. But T.Y. was so dominant that he was able to do that. And now he's starting to pick up the tempo. I think this young passer has proven that yes, he can. I'm trying to hold on to this early lead that I jumped out to. Boom! Pays the price of that sucker. And he's starting to go into a little bit of a spread mode. Nice run there. We do a decent job of containing that.
Looking to throw. Knocked away.
But as I was saying, the two things that I'm looking forward to seeing or testing out when NCAA 13 drops is the bubble and flanker screen game. See the improvements of that. The read option game, and also play action. I'll be running a lot of play action to see if the pass protection is more consistent. He might not be able to get the pass off. He's tackled at the good route, good pocket, good throw, good catch.
Excellent job of recognizing the Mike linebacker on the blitz. He hung in there.
And then I'm going to be paying attention to how the defense is reacting to all of these goodies that the offense got this season. Trying to get another score on the board here. On the old slant bubble. The slant bubble is actually more effective than the goddamn bubble screen. And this is a play that I like. The old HB swing. If you got a guy who can do some work in space, it can cause some serious damage if you catch him in a blitzer and if the blocking holds up. And here he scoots outside a little bit. He gets out to about the 35-yard line. That's my backup halfback, actually.
That was a great hit by the defender. He just drove the ball carrier right to the ground.
One of the reasons why I have so much fun with NCAA is just developing a program, building up your team, and recruiting, and seeing your team mature. That's one of my favorite aspects of college football in general. I love recruiting season. National Signing Day is one of my favorite sports days of the year. One thing I'd like to see added to the game somehow down the road is a little bit more variability and personality in the recruiting that occurs in the game, because it's pretty much just a push button affair. Not a lot of interaction there. You know, you go to the menus, you choose your recruits, you choose your pitches, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is about recruiting is that if you follow recruiting and, you know, follow ESPN.com, follow National Signing Day and whatnot,
he may have changed things up.
Most of the recruits that your team signs, when they make their commitments on National Signing Day, most of them you will never hear of ever again. They become special team players. They become dropouts, or they transfer, or they just don't get any better. Some guys reach their peak in high school. Some of them change positions. Many of them change positions. You know, very few players out of a recruiting class become impact players. But in the video game world, you know, if you recruit a 5-star or 4-star guy, he's going to eventually become a very good player for you. Usually, and sometimes right away if you get a 5-star stud. I like to see, you know, some busts. You know, some guys who just don't maximize their potential. Like you recruit the guy and he's an 82 overall, and sometimes he stays that way. He doesn't get any better, or he becomes only an 84. Or you get a guy who's a late bloomer, a 3-star recruit, who, you know, comes on like gangbusters. That's how teams like, you know, the mid-majors of the world recruit, for the most part. They get those guys that kind of fall through the cracks. Sometimes guys who are a tenth too slow or a little bit too light, but, you know, they're blue-collar, hard-working kids who bust their butt, and by the time they're third-year sophomores, fourth-year juniors, they're just as good as those 4-star, 5-star blue-chip prospects. So basically what I would like to see in the game is just some more personality and variables in the recruits and the recruiting process in general. I know that they added, you know, what they call, you know, the Swiss Army knife type player. You just see a lot of in college football. You know, guys that could play quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, running back. Whatever. That's good to see. But in the recruiting process, I like to see more variables. As we come into the fourth quarter of this bad boy, can I hang on? Trying to catch me with play action. And wow, I don't know how that pass got through me and through the DB. But my D-line steps up and comes through. I got a sack I got one sack each out of all 4 D linemen. My 2 defensive tackles and my 2 defensive ends each got a sack in the game. Got a really solid front 4. He's driving, trying to make something happen. The blitz just misses and makes a strike. Here we go. Bringing some zone heat here. Covers the middle and gets him. So now he's up against it on 3rd and long. 4-man rush. Defensive end gets him. So twice in a row my D steps up, and here I'm just trying to run out the clock here now. Get a little jet sweep going with some bodies in front of me. Decent blocking, cut it up. Trying to kill this clock and get this W. Now here I get very lucky. I screw this play up. If I went to the right and pitched it, I'd probably still be running, but I realized I screwed it up, so I decided to take a chance. And sometimes if you run towards the opposite direction, depending on what the defense is doing, if you screw up an option read and follow where the tailback would have gone, you can get a pretty decent gain. So I was lucky there and was able to pop another run the play before, take a knee, and get my W. So solid beginning of the season for Florida International. Played well on defense, was efficient in offense, no turnovers.
As we take a look at the highlights,
Got the job
how
done.
would you summarize the action in this one?
I was impressed with both teams out there, but the difference in this game came down to execution.
Denying them in the red zone there. That was a big turning point in the
San
game.
Diego State made a few more mistakes in this game than their opponents, and whether it's turnovers, penalties, missed tackles, or
Bummed out home faithful.
can't afford to make mistakes and expect to win.
There I am looking fly in my visor. Getting my Spurrier on.
Well, this young man
And my
is our
quarterback had a really solid game. Good balanced spread.
will be made to the school's general scholarship.
Lot of fun to run.
For FIU, they start the season.
If you haven't taken a look at it, take a look at the Notre Dame spread playbook. I think you, if you're a spread guy, I think you'll enjoy it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that game. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.
And we'll see you next time.